How's it going, y'all? This is McFrostyBoy, and today we're going to be working on some mechanical stuff within Apex Legends. Specifically, we're going to be playing around with grenades, the frag grenade. And so, I should hope most of you all are familiar with, like, you know, the general, like the most common use case of the grenade, right? You throw it at their feet and you let it cook, and it rolls way past them and doesn't hit them at all. I think, like, you know, that's like how, like, you'll see, like, maybe in the corner. Does that work? I don't know. That might not actually pass through the cover. I guess it does. Interesting. So, like, that's like how you see, like, a lot of, like, the time, like, you'll see frags used, right? You'll see them, like, use, like, almost like arc stars, and, like, people will just, like, compensate for steering wheel framing next. Yeah, people will compensate for, like, you know, the fact that they bounce a little bit, you know, like, by, like, just aiming a little bit lower than they would with an arc star, or, like, they'll, like, try and chuck it through a window and, like, hope it just, like, rattles around inside a building and hits people. So, like, those are the ways I think I generally see, like, you know, frag grenades get, like, used, like, up front. But there's actually, like, an additional use case for frag grenades. It's really powerful, not difficult to do, and I mean, I'd really like to see more of it, right? Which is specifically, like, you know, like, high pop frags, like, which is, like, let me see here. Maybe, like, that should do it. It's been a while since I practiced this. Not as far.
Frag out.
Yeah, so like you saw there, right, like the frag, like, flew high, right, and it was properly cooked so that, like, before hitting the ground, before this character would have received a grenade indicator, right, like, it's exploded on their head. And then, you know, the whole thing with frag grenades, right, they do a lot of damage, like a lot of damage, and they have very significant knockback. So, like, the reward for hitting a good frag on someone, you know, like, where it's, like, nice and meaty and hits them for most of the damage, like, is really big. Like, if they're standing on top of an annoying piece of cover and you hit them with a frag grenade, then it pushes them off the piece of cover. And, like, sometimes that could even mean pushing them out into the ring, you know, depending on, like, where the circle is. So the reason, like, why people, like, tend to not go for high pop frags is because they're not as easy, right? Like, it takes a little bit more work, as you saw. Like, I mean, like, I'm, like, so, like, sufficiently out of practice that, like, I actually had to try it twice in order to get it right. So the good thing is, like, there's actually, like, a little trick you can use, and so that's, like, what this video is about. So if you throw it straight up and down, right, like, you'll see, like, you know, it's gonna come back and it's gonna land right on my head. Actually, shit, that's gonna kill me. Oh my god, no, I'm gonna pick up all the grenades again. Oh, we're gonna cut past that. As you saw, if you throw it straight up and down, right, like, the grenade comes and it lands perfectly back on your character. And so, like, in terms of, like, height vertically, right, like, if you allow the grenade to travel, like, its full distance, like, through the air, it will, like, it should, like, there's, like, a specific angle past which, like, it doesn't work as well. It's about, like, 45 degrees up. But, like, anything like, below that, like, the grenade will explode at approximately the same height that it was, like, thrown from. So let me show you, like, what I mean. So, like, let's say, like, at this, like, if I want to hit this guy here, then I'll, like, aim, and this is definitely, like, above 45 degrees, and that should probably land on top of his head. Oh, a little bit far. Or if I'm aiming at this one over here, then
Frag out.
I'm a little long right now, but I think you can see, like, sort of, like, what I'm getting at, right? Like, it's like almost, it's not quite, but it's, like, almost, like, landing, like, directly on their heads. It's, like, looks like they're exploding. It's exploding, like, right before, like, it bounces, or as it's bouncing on the ground. Which, you know, for the you know, for the sake of, like, you know, hitting someone with, like, a high pop frag, like, that's good enough. Like, the whole point is, like, so they don't get a grenade indicator. And so it's like, you know, it's like, just, like, imagine, like, being able to, like, you know, hit someone with damage that they have no idea is coming and is completely unavoidable, and also, like, has the potential to ignore cover because you can just throw it up in the air, right? Like, that is like what a frag grenade does. So, like, frag grenades, like, you know, used like this can be really, really powerful. It's, like, really worth practicing. If you get good with them, like, it's actually a really difficult thing to deal with. Like, you know, there's not a lot that I can do in response, short of, like, having, like, a Watson or being inside a building to stop you from hitting me with a high pop frag. So the trick to hitting them is, like, if you actually look at, like, this red trail here, there's a spot on it, right, like, where it fades away. And so, like, where after that fade away, like, after that piece of the indicator, so, like, I can't even, it's, like, you know, like, beneath our thumb here, it's like after that piece of the indicator fades away, like, the grenade more or less falls straight down. So, like, you just, like, want to, like, try and, like, line up that fade fading part so that it's like lined up like with like where like how far away like the enemy character or target is. See, and then it falls like almost straight down like once it like reaches like that fading part of like the indicator. So you can use the indicator you've always had, and like pretty reliably, you know, like get like the grenades to like land, you know, on top of the enemies here.
Frag out.
And it like just takes like a little bit of practice and like knowing that you can do that. So that's like basically the tip. Or the trick, I guess, right? It's like very simple, very straightforward. Doesn't like require like a whole lot of like mechanical proficiency, and like again, like with practice, right, you get faster and faster. But you know, literally, like I'm sure we've like all been in situations where, you know, enemy is just like standing like on like a stupid like annoying piece of cover, and like you can't push them off. And these high pop frags can give you a shot, like actually like bouncing one of their enemy, like one of the characters, like off of that high piece of cover, which is extremely disruptive. Like if you bounce them off the high piece of cover, you might have a shot at just like knocking them outright, and suddenly it's just 2 people instead of 3 people holding a high piece of cover. So yeah, the other thing to know is that like, you know, if like, you know, if they were like on like a higher position, like up there or something like that, right, then I don't even know if you could reach it from here, like, you know, then the grenade will hit the ground sooner, and so they'll get like a little bit more of an indicator, and it also means the grenade's gonna bounce around a little bit, and like it'll move a little bit from the point of landing, especially so like if it's like landing on a slant. So if there's like a big slant up there or something like that, I don't know, then like it could cause the grenade to move off target. So something to compensate for, easy way to compensate is by jumping. Jumping helps a little bit. I don't think the grenades inherit momentum from your character. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but like, you know, it's like, you know, if like someone were like standing like on top of like the target here, then like just jumping would like help me make sure that it's like exploding closer to the correct height. If that makes sense. So the other thing is that it like sort of like stops working. Like there are, I wonder if I can actually get far away enough that like I can show you. Like I think like from here.
Frag out.
Yeah, it's like sufficiently far away enough, and like the grenade doesn't get enough hang time that it can, I don't know, do its thing. It like actually doesn't make sense to me in terms of like the physics, but like whatever. Okay, so yep, that's it. That's me killing myself with grenades, blowing myself up. Classic. So yep, super simple thing. Nothing crazy. Don't have to like do like some wacky wall bounces or tap strafes or momentum shifts or crazy aim thing or, you know, like any of that crap. Like, just, all right, let's do some more ups.